Namaste, everyone. Welcome to the Cārvāka podcast. This is your host, Kushalmehra. Today, we're going to talk about the floods that have hit northern India. Punjab, I think, in its entire history, has never faced something as catastrophic as this. And it's a real tragic that we are where we are. Even Himachal is hit with terrible floods. And I think parts of Uttarakhand too. The Honorable Prime Minister has done aerial visit and has gone and done extensive meetings. But today's podcast is not just about the measuring the extent of damage that has been done in Punjab and Himachal, but it also is going to be specially focusing on Punjab because there is a very specific, unique problem that Punjab is facing, which is about a particular government scheme that was launched, which was called the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana in the year 2015. Now, this is the tale of two states where Himachal is part of the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana of 2015. Punjab, for for some reason, decided not to opt for that scheme, and the result is an absolute mess that we have here in Punjab. So, to talk about this and many other things, as always, I have Tushar, and because Tushar and I care deeply for Punjab. So, Tushar, welcome. Now, I hand it over to you.
Well, what happened in Punjab is deeply traumatic, and Himachal, Uttarakhand, even Sikkim, I just heard in the evening news, was now being impacted by floods, Jammu for that matter. So, a lot of erratic climate patterns are now visible. Earlier, this used to be once in a decade kind of an event. Now it's happening every second year. People who may not remember, 2023 also, Punjab witnessed very serious flooding where villages were submerged and help had to be called in. Right now, why we doing this podcast? I mean, there is no surprise. Flooding happens because there is excess of water. It's that simple. But why is this excess of water happening again and again in Punjab, a state that has five rivers, and yet there are not enough channels for the water to run away, even with a sprawling canal network? What is really going wrong with the entire management of the state that's actually amplifying the entire impact of the floods across the state? That is something we need to discuss. Kushal started off with the Fasal Bima Yojana, and that's very, very important. Look, Punjab somehow has always resisted the prime minister and his schemes. There is no politics behind it. Narendra Modi can work well without the political capital he may win from Punjab. Punjab can very well function without giving any political capital to the prime minister. It's a mutually exclusive relationship, to put it simply, since 2014. Now, the problem is when this resistance comes in, often you reject the good things in the garb of looking at the larger picture, which is of hatred in this case. So now Punjab farmers do not have the Fasal Bima Yojana. It's a very simple thing. For farmers, it ensures them against crop losses. Most of the states have this scheme implemented, even in the opposition states. Punjab somehow did not have it. The Aam Aadmi Party agreed to it at one point, but then they went back on their decision saying that the scheme is not perfect. We will create a scheme that is suited to the local realities. That scheme never happened so far. The compensation doesn't equate to a scheme. When you have a scheme, there is a proper protocol procedure in place. Right now, the farmers of Punjab are just dependent on some compensation that is being promised per acre. How that will work, what is the time limit, how it will be distributed, how it will be delivered, we don't know. And the resistance to Fasal Bima Yojana is also a pattern that was seen with the direct benefit transfers of MSP. You may not remember in 2022 or 2021 it was 2021 2022 the prime minister decided that MSP would now be delivered directly into the bank accounts of the Punjab farmers for all the procurement that happens by the center. There was resistance to this idea as well, not by the farmers but by the middlemen. Eventually the government triumphed and the MSP now goes directly to the bank accounts. But right now the problem is you have a state that is partially submerged. There are heavy crop losses. The next sowing season is upon you in another 30 days. You don't know how much paddy crop you've already lost. And now you do not have an insurance scheme. That is what happens when state and center do not work together. One thing I really want to point out with very, very careful choice of words and with a lot of respect, please understand distribution of free food, ration, that is wonderful. The gesture is wonderful, and one can never question that intent when it comes to Punjab, Haryana, Himachal, especially in Punjab. We saw that intent in 2020, 2021 also when the protests were going on, even so far as 2024 when they were camped at the Shambhu border. But you cannot confuse service for politics. Let's be very clear about this. You cannot confuse service for hard economics. If the state is in a position where it can cater to its routine ration needs, doesn't mean it's in a position where it can take care of its economic long term needs. Again, it's very good that no one in Punjab is left behind when it comes to food or water or medicines or any kind of assistance that is needed. There are several people on the ground, locals, young boys and girls, everyone is there. But that is very different from running a state. What I saw on social media, and these were accounts I am pretty sure which are not being operated from Punjab, which are not even being operated from India for that matter. A few of those accounts are probably being operated from Pakistan. I saw that challenge to the center. Look, we can have a langar and we can take care of ourselves. We do not need you. Now that is the kind of divisive agendas that some people are running right now. That is why we are having this podcast. That is why this discussion needs to happen. That the calamity in Punjab shouldn't be an opportunity for people outside the country to work through these fault lines and create an atmosphere which they tried creating in 2020, 2021. That's the first thing. Number two, Punjab has a lot of good things about it. In the face of a calamity, a lot of people are helping each other, but that's a very separate issue from hardcore economics. That's a problem Punjab is yet to solve. Point number two. And point number three, we always think floods are an isolated problem. That, oh, you had a lot of rainfall in July and August, it was in excess, it was an above average monsoon, and that is why you have this problem. No, these are all interlinked. One thing why we keep coming back to Punjab through the prism of some of the other issues, all these issues are interlinked. By the end of the podcast, I'll tell you that how the fiscal health of the state impacts its flood management. Because state government is spending so little on its capex, there is a problem of canals and rivers overflowing because the infrastructure needed to put in place, like the embankments, for example, they are not there. One of the most heartbreaking videos that came from Punjab, and this was early on, I think in second half of August, was when a group of farmers were throwing sacks of mud just to build an embankment so that the water doesn't go through the fields, so that they can save their crop. And of course, they couldn't stop the water. With the kind of force the water was moving, of course, a few sacks wouldn't have solved it. But that is what they were doing. Now, this is heartbreaking because this is not the job of those farmers to cry to at to sort of ad hoc look for sacks of mud or sand and just put them together to build an embankment good enough that can last them while they save their crops. That's just heartbreaking. But that is where the responsibility of the state government must be debated, and not just the Aam Aadmi Party state government, even the government prior to it. So that is what I want to start with.
Now, I want to share this article and I want to read a detailed excerpt from it because I think the problem with Punjab is weird. And this is the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana introduced by the center in 2016, provides comprehensive insurance against natural calamities, pests, and diseases. Farmers pay a nominal premium 2% for kharif crops sown during monsoon months, 1.5% for rabi crops, winter months, and 5% for horticultural and commercial crops, while the center and state share the remaining costs. However, Punjab has never implemented the scheme, citing the financial burden on the state exchequer and concerns about transparency in claim settlements. The government also argued that with 99% irrigation coverage in the state compared to around 55% at the all India level, its risk level was far lower than in drought prone regions, making high premium contributions unjustifiable. The state also objected to the PMFBY's cluster based model, which clubs irrigated and rain fed areas together, raising premiums for Punjab farmers as a whole. Other sticking points included the 40% loss threshold for claims, which farmers called too high, a limited sum being insured rather than the full crop value, and supposedly unaffordable premiums for commercial and horticultural crops. Farmers' unions further highlighted issues like delayed claim settlements and profiteering by insurance companies in other states, deepening distrust in the scheme. In 2020, the PMFBY was revamped to make enrollment voluntary, introduce flexibility for states in calculating the sum insured, enforce strict timelines for premium release, and mandate multi year contracts with insurance. Punjab still chose to stay away from it, maintaining that it needed a state specific model instead. Now I'm going to read even more because Punjab has Punjabi politicians have a very bad habit of saying hum dekh lenge, humko koi zarurat nahi hai. See, this is what happens when you have this attitude of hum dekh lenge, humko koi zarurat nahi hai. Punjabi politicians are the biggest enemies of Punjab right now, cutting across all parties, to be very honest. PMFBI was launched in early 2016 when the Shiromani Akali Dal and BJP alliance was in power. Although the SAD was an ally of the NDA, which was the then ruling at the center, the Chief Minister Parkash Singh Badal rejected the scheme. Remember, they were with the state BJP, ladies and gentlemen. Punjab politics is weird. You don't believe me? Read the statements of BJP Punjab leaders at times. In 2017, the Congress government was elected in Punjab and they tried to draft a crop insurance scheme but failed to implement it due to lack of funds and clarity on the policy. In November 2022, the Aam Aadmi Party government announced that Punjab would join PMFBY from the next crop cycle 23-25 but reversed its decision in March 2023 when Punjab CM Bhagwant Mann said a state specific policy would be introduced. A draft agriculture policy unveiled in September 2024 mentioned the need for a state crop insurance policy, but it has yet to be formulated. A rupees 200 crore contingency fund was also proposed to cover losses for crops, livestock, and farm labor. A miserly 200 crore, ladies and gentlemen. The fund was to be created through a contribution from farmers based on 0.1% of their procurement and with the state matching funding. However, the plan did not move beyond the discussion stage. Compensation to farmers comes through ad hoc relief payments, rupees 15,000 per acre for 75 to 100% crop loss and rupees 6,750 for 33 to 75% damage. Farmers argue that this barely covers input costs, particularly for paddy cultivation, where expenses often exceed rupees 15,000 per acre. I could go on and on and on and on and on, but I will share the link of this article for all of you in the live stream. And I want you guys to go and read this. And after you read this, you go bang your head in the nearest wall and ask yourself
Something,
what is wrong with Punjab politicians.
something very ironic is happening in Punjab right now. We keep debating about how paddy is very, very important in the larger scheme of things to the state of Punjab, and how paddy is also responsible when it comes to the groundwater depletion. Now, for those who don't know, 3 to 5,000 liters of water goes into the cultivation of 1 kilogram of rice, in the production of 1 kilogram of rice. Now, the problem that is happening is that around June and July, when the monsoons sort of start coming up from south to north, the fields in Punjab are prepared for the seeding, for the sowing, that is the Kharif season beginning. And the major crop then is paddy, right? August, September is when the crop actually grows. And this is what happened this year. August, September witnessed heavy, heavy rainfall. So what happens now? You have heavy rainfall in August, September. Your crops are either destroyed or your farmland is now with heavy silt. You cannot prepare the farmland just in time to sow your paddy crop in October and November. So what the nature indirectly is also telling the farmers of Punjab is that somewhere paddy cultivation is not really feasible. And let me explain how. Look, the erratic climate patterns are here to stay. You can blame Himachal, you can blame Uttarakhand, but the problem is rainfall is also hitting Punjab. Paddy is not a crop Punjab farmers can afford. And I don't say everyone should just stop growing paddy right away. It has to be phased out. That is what the government has been saying in the center. That is what the Congress government was saying in its economic survey when it was in government in Punjab. That is even what the Aam Aadmi Party is saying in its economic surveys in the Punjab government. So paddy needs to be phased out. This is another sort of a catalyst, the nature, the way it's working. Why can't Punjab farmers now shift to horticulture crops? And that is where they can collaborate with the private sector, get access to better technologies, better weather, access to understanding of better weather patterns. This is where the problem is. It's a very, very troubled deadlock for the farmers of Punjab. They want to grow paddy at this time of the year. The weather doesn't allow them to do so. The groundwater is depleting. The rain is hitting them. They are being sort of screwed by both the ends, from the groundwater also and from the above the ground also, right? And that's terribly unfair to them. So this is where they have to start thinking: can we phase out paddy? If Punjab is growing 100 units of paddy, can we bring it down to 80 in the next 3 years? Consequently, can we bring it down to 60 in the next 7 years? And eventually 40 in the next 10 years? That is how it has to work, because once the farmers go into horticulture, cereals, pulses, they can collaborate with government agencies, they can collaborate with the private sector. What the farmers of Punjab need is better infrastructure access for their fields. They need more technology. They can't. I mean, the most heartbreaking side for all no farmers, no food charade that went on in 2020, you had farmers literally throwing uh, sand sacks just to stop water. This is not how Punjab can operate. This is not what the farmers deserve. They deserve better. So the first, I think, learning for the future, Kushal, is you have to sort of start switching away from the paddy to immune the farmers of Punjab, because the erratic weather patterns are here to stay. God forbid, we don't know what the next rainy season will look like or one after it. We don't know. So we have to start building some immunity. Number two, why that immunity also helps, you sort of recharge your groundwater levels. It helps you with your wheat crop as well, which is very, very important. Punjab farmers either grow wheat or they grow paddy. There's no third crop that they grow. Everything else makes up for less than 10% of the cultivated area. So you need to keep growing wheat. You need water for that. That's a non-negotiable. So where are you going to get your water from? You're not recharging it. So how are you going to go about it? That's the first learning from the future. Diversify away from paddy, and it's not coming from the floods. The center has been shouting for very long. In fact, in 2024, the center itself said, we are going to buy your pulses if you diversify away for the next 5 years. Our agencies like NABARD and all, they are going to enter into a contract with you. Just start diversifying. The Aam Aadmi Party was also in that meeting. They rejected it. They rejected that entire idea.
See,
That
my
is where the
problem
problem.
problem with this entire discourse is Professor Ashok Gulati has written copious amounts of research papers on agriculture in India and agriculture in Punjab in general. He keeps on reminding people how the farm laws were the greatest opportunity for the farmer in Punjab. Well, they blew it away. Now, what can we do? But people don't realize these things, that, opting out of schemes like Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana and many other things does not help the average Punjabi farmer. And when again, there is a giant grip, stranglehold over policy of the rich farmer of Punjab.
Yeah.
This is
So I'll
what we
tell
are
you
not talking about. The poor
exactly.
farmer of Punjab is suffering because of the rich farmer of Punjab and their stupid ego.
You tell me how many large landowners have stepped in today to help the farmers, compensate them for the loss. Everyone is simply turning to the government. And I'll tell you one other narrative, Kushal, that also needs to be debunked, was about Bhakra Dam. There were a lot of commentators on Punjab who sort of attributed, even the chief minister sort of was playing with that narrative, that if the Bhakra Dam was managed better, somehow the water wouldn't be released into the Satluj and that wouldn't sort of overflow into the villages of Punjab. Let's get two, three things very, very clear. A dam, essentially a reservoir in a dam, holds water to a certain capacity. It's the most basic fundamental of a dam. It holds, its reservoir holds water to a certain capacity. Now, for those who are unaware about Punjab, I urge you to do this exercise. Go to Google Earth, just look up the Bhakra Dam, zoom out and look at the size of that reservoir. It's gigantic. I have been to Bhakra Nangal Dam a couple of times, and I can tell you, Kushal, there are very few infrastructure marvels that can intimidate a person. Bhakra Nangal Dam is one of them. The sheer size of the reservoir, it's insanely, insanely big. And that's why I'm urging people, go on Google or just check it out. Now, let's get to the fundamentals here. Pre monsoon, around May or June, the Bhakra dams are usually 1500 to 1600 feet. That is what the usual capacity is, 1500 to 1600 feet. Then, if it's a normal monsoon, they go to 1600 to 1680 feet. That is where the level goes, and that is pretty much 80% of the capacity. So, if Bhakra is filled around 1680 feet, that's 80% of the capacity, nothing to worry about. The trouble begins when it starts going beyond 1680. That is where the trouble begins. And that is where the authorities, the BBMB, Bhakra Bias Management Board, is obligated to release water. Now, there were some accounts, and I'm not sure if they were being operated from India. They were saying, why couldn't you just hold the water? You can't do that. You can't expect the BBMB authorities to just hold the water in the reservoir when it's around 90% of its storage capacity. The pressure on the dam and the kind of calamity it can cause, it's very, very dangerous. So I don't know where these narratives even come from, that somehow the center and the Bhakra Bias Management Board and the Himachal Pradesh government are colluding because they want to harm the interest of the Punjab state. It's absolute nonsense. You think if the government could hold back water in the reservoir to just ensure that the flood water doesn't go into the state, they won't. And I'll give you another twist in the tale. Around July, Bhagwant Maan got into a tussle with the Bhakra Bias Management Board that why do you need to release extra water into the for the state of Haryana? That water quantity was literally negligible. It won't have impacted the holding capacity of Bhakra. He got into the middle that this is the water from Punjab, you cannot release it. In fact, the Punjab police was deployed at the Bhakra Dam to over out authority, the CRPF. Eventually, the Punjab and Haryana High Court had to step in. Water for Haryana was released. And eventually, what was proven was that BBMB was right. Pre-monsoon, they wanted to release as much water so that they could expand their storage capacity. Now, the BBMB becomes bad. The center becomes bad because pre-monsoon, they're releasing water. Then what happens? You have an excess monsoon. The storage capacity goes up. Again, water has to be released. Center and Bhakra Bias Management Board are bad. This is not how it works. Put simply, the state government of Punjab cannot put the blame on a dam reservoir.
Behind all of this, whether we like it or not, is this weird antagonism in the Punjabi mind towards Delhi. ये हुआ क्या है मालूम है? It made sense when the Mughals were ruling us. Okay? तो ये पंजाबी माइंड कहाँ से आता है? ये देख, हमारे गुरुओं का माइंडसेट था कि हम तो छोड़ेंगे नहीं दिल्ली को. Because Delhi represented the Mughals at one point of time. We have to talk about the historical aspect of this. तो क्या हुआ है कि पंजाब बहुत लड़ा है, पंजाब बहुत कटा है, पंजाब ने बहुत sacrifices किए हैं. And nobody can deny the sacrifices of that great state of India. Okay? These are fighting people. They have sacrificed a lot. We understand that. How do we understand it? We're more Punjabis in that sense. I'm more Marathi. I'll admit it. But, my parents are very Punjabi. I am born and raised in Mumbai. मैं मराठी गुजराती हो गया, मगर I understand Punjabi culture. I still have immediate family there. I visit there. The point being, भाई अभी आजाद हो गए तुम. सॉफ्टवेयर अपडेट कर लो ना. सॉफ्टवेयर अपडेट नहीं हुआ है पंजाब का. This is Tushar, you know it, I know it. It's literally this attitude, and you know it, I know it. People in our own family, extended family, have this attitude.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, it's nauseating when you go and have conversations with them. They start looking at you as if you are representative of Delhi. Abhay, bhai, I'm Indian. You are Indian. Get over it. It doesn't mean they want to separate from India, but there is this form machismo in the culture of Punjab.
Now I'll tell you something else. We are talking about the flood water. Now there is a canal system, and it, of course, is a very big sprawling canal network in Punjab, more than 15,000 kilometers. You know what is the problem? Why those canals are also overflowing? The Union Minister for Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Shivraj Singh Chauhan, was there, and there were reports about what the problem with Punjab's canal network is today. There is poor maintenance, there are weak embankments, there is encroachment, and there is absolutely no initiative for the complete revamp wherever required. सिल्ट नहीं हटाते, मिट्टी जम जाती है कैनाल के फ्लोर पे, कैनाल के बेड पे, कचरा जमा हो जाता है, वो पूरी ड्रेनेज खराब करता है, नहीं रोकते. ठीक है. अब प्रॉब्लम ये आती है, पैसा नहीं है. मैं बार बार घूम फिर के पंजाब की इकोनॉमी पे क्यों आता हूं? बिकॉज दैट इज वेयर द एंटायर होली ग्रेल इज, दैट इज वेयर ऑल आर आंसर्स आर. नाउ आई विल ब्रेक इट डाउन. Let's assume the budget of Punjab is 100 rupees. Okay? Debt takes away 33 rupees already. So imagine you have a salary of 100 rupees, 33 rupees go into the debt right away. 63 rupees are the revenue expenditure, which is the cost of running the government, which includes salaries, pensions, interest payments, subsidies, grant and aid, social services, economic services, things like that. You know what is the capital expenditure? 3.5 rupees. So of the 100 rupees Punjab spends, it only spends 3.5 rupees on capital expenditure, and this was 2022-2023. The total capital expenditure for that year, 2022-2023, as per the CAG report, was around 6,600 crore. 6,600 crore. Now, it's not the Aam Aadmi Party who's at fault there. Let me be very clear about this. This is something that has been a legacy issue. It was amplified by the Congress. It was sort of, the foundations of it were put by the Akali, where BJP played a second fiddle. No doubt about that. My problem with the Aam Aadmi Party is they have done nothing to reverse this. They could have easily been the bridge between the center and the farm union, saying you need to diversify, let's get in private sector. They refused to do that. They could have taken steps to invite industry into Punjab, working with the center. They refused to do that. Bhagwant Mann openly mocks the Prime Minister for every diplomatic maneuver he does, openly and shamelessly, I must add. But he is not willing to work with the center. अभी क्या हुआ वहां की पॉलिटिक्स देखो आप. कैनाल्स मेंटेन नहीं है, वाटर वॉर्स हो रही हैं कि किसानों को पानी नहीं मिलता है, बहुत ज्यादा मिल रहा है, आपके कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर कुछ नहीं है, आपके पास इंश्योरेंस नहीं है. प्रॉब्लम क्या है? आपका चीफ मिनिस्टर बीमार पड़ जाता है. Arvind Kejriwal is the one managing Punjab right now. He is visiting the flood hit areas. Why? Because that will reflect in the 2027 elections also. My worry also is Punjab has an economic crisis. It doesn't have an irreversible political crisis as of now. And people are not realizing this now. There is going to be this fifth pillar in Punjab politics, which will be made up by the likes of Amritpal Singhs. And you won't like that. But people are left with no choice. Look, BJP is not a big player in Punjab by no stretch of imagination. Akalis have diluted their political capital to a larger extent since 2022. Aam Aadmi Party is facing severe anti-incumbency, and Congress is a pale shadow of what it used to be in Punjab. So in 2022, are you sort of pushing people away to vote for, I don't know, what kind of elements? And we saw a teaser of it in 2024. I'm sorry, in 2027. And we saw a teaser in 2024 when Amritpal Singh won. It all boils down to economics, Kushal. Everything is linked to the economics of Punjab. अच्छा, अब एक और बात आती है कि हमारा 60,000 करोड़ उसने मारा हुआ है, सेंटर ने मारा हुआ है. ये एक बहुत नैरेटिव चला रहे हैं कि भैया पंजाब को उसके पैसे नहीं मिल रहे, पंजाब को सिर्फ 1600 करोड़ दिया. भाई हिमाचल को 1500 करोड़ का रिलीफ दिया गया, उत्तराखंड को भी 1200-1300 करोड़ का रिलीफ किया है, पंजाब को 1600 करोड़ का रिलीफ किया. तीनों स्टेट्स तीनों अलग पार्टीज के अंडर हैं. उत्तराखंड में बीजेपी है, हिमाचल में कांग्रेस है, पंजाब में आप है. Why is आप the one claiming that you are not giving us any money? This is a meager amount. हिमाचल का तो पूरा टूरिज्म बर्बाद हो गया. And this numbers about GST, this thing needs to be debunked. There is no pending dues of Punjab when it comes to GST compensation, none of it. Interestingly, Punjab is one of the four states, only four states in India, which actually was overcompensated between 2017 and 2022. I can give the numbers also. I have them right in front of me. ये नैरेटिव कहाँ से आ रहा है कि आपने हमारा 50,000 करोड़ रखा हुआ है, 60,000 करोड़ रखा हुआ है, कौन फैला रहा है ये नैरेटिव? एंड माय वरी इज स्टेट गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट काउंटरिंग दिस. It's it at this point, for the larger good of the people, it should be working with the center. It shouldn't be questioning the center's intent. That is where the entire problem of the flood management comes in, because this flood will again come. In 2023 we thought that this is a one time thing. Probably it's back haunting us in 2025. So I think it's very, very important that the state government of Punjab really introspects at this point.
Yeah, but then okay, how genuine is Punjab's demand of control of dams into Satluj, Beas, and Ravi? ये किसी ने पूछ ही लिया. So what is the demand? पहले just steelman their demand and then explain.
No, again, firstly it comes under the center, the kind of law we have in India right now. First thing, state cannot control a dam. Number two, what will Punjab do once it has control of the dams? Are you telling me a state government will say, okay, I cannot let my state flood, so I'll not release water from the reservoir? That is exactly what the Aam Aadmi Party was trying to imply. That why water is being released. Again, please understand a reservoir has a certain holding capacity. Beyond that, in an excess monsoon season, it can get very, very dangerous. You don't want the entire dam wall coming apart. And that is why I'm urging people go on Google Earth, just check out the size of the reservoir when it comes to Bhakra Nangal Dam. Just check out the size of the reservoir.
Yeah, this this entire water issue that Punjab has. Like, are we that naive? Why don't they realize that? I mean, I think it's in Punjab's favor that the Indus Water Treaty is done. Actually, it's in the
Yeah.
favor of all the northern states, including Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Himachal, all those states.
No, they need water, but this is not about water, Kushal. This is more about managing water. Right now, we have floods in Punjab not because we have an excess of water alone, but also because we are not able to drain out that water timely. That is where the state economics come into play, what money irrigation department has, what kind of maintenance it's doing. And it's a Herculean task, not to sort of mock the intent of anyone here, any official, but it's a Herculean task which will take 5 to 10 years for a complete revamp. But who's going to bell the cat? Which is that one party that could have told the people of Punjab, look, you had your protest, you got back what you wanted, but now it's time to get serious. You are in big trouble when it comes to economy. यू एंड आई विल मेक दिस कमेंट. कोई आके बेवकूफ लिख जाएगा मेरे ट्विटर टाइमलाइन पे, ये बनिए. भैया मेरे को घंटा फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, तुम लिख जो तुम्हें लिखना है. प्रॉब्लम जहां है वो तो बदलेगी ही ना. उसको तुम कनेडियन बोल दोगे, मुझे बनिया बोल दोगे, क्या हो जाएगा उससे? ये जो एक ठेकेदारी हो गई है ना कि हमें पता है पंजाब का भला क्या है, तुम्हें
मजे
नहीं
की
पता.
बात है कि यार मालूम है मेरे को, यहाँ के लोग बोलते हैं गो बैक टू इंडिया, इंडिया के लोग बोलते हैं आता क्यों नहीं है, अभी मैं दोनों जगह रहता हूँ तो.
नो बट ये ठेकेदारी है ना, ये एक तरह से ठेकेदारी है कि हम ही डिसाइड करेंगे कि पंजाब के लिए अच्छा या बुरा क्या है. तुम दिल्ली में बैठे हो या तुम हिंदू हो तो तुम नहीं बता सकते. और ये ऐसे कुछ अकाउंट्स मैं आई एम कॉन्फिडेंट कि इंडिया से नहीं चलाए जा रहे. वो कुछ एक दो होते हैं रोग एलिमेंट्स थोड़े खिसके हुए, उनका अलग बात है. वो लिखते रहेंगे पूरा दिन आपको कुछ ना कुछ, बट मेजॉरिटी ऑफ दिस अकाउंट्स आर बीइंग ऑपरेटेड आउटसाइड इंडिया.
Pakistan, Bangladesh operate most of the anti-Indian hate accounts, and I say this with a lot of responsibility.
Yeah. So I think the second thing Punjab needs to look at is understand where its canal network is weakening. Go for a complete revamp ASAP. This is not the first time a flood of this magnitude has happened. It's the worst flood it has hit the state since 1988. But we are in a very erratic climate sort of a era now. हिमाचल में देखो ना अब क्या हो रहा है, सड़कों की सड़कें बही जा रही हैं. वहां भी सरकार को काम करना पड़ेगा. आपके इंजीनियरिंग सोल्यूशन सारे फेल हो रहे हैं. विल हैव टू गो बैक टू द ड्राइंग बोर्ड. बट यहाँ तो आपको जो एक प्रॉब्लम सामने है, यू हैव द Infrastructure right there. Just fix it. That's it.
So then, what is the long-term future and solution for Punjab? I want to spend a good 15-20 minutes now on future solutions. First of all, let me start again to every single Punjabi who speaks English. Stop this bina baat ka antagonistic attitude towards Delhi. The Mughals are gone. Those are your own people. You have to work with the rest of the country. Think positively. Change your attitude. Spending 40 lakhs and sending your child to do indentured labor in Canada, US, UK, Australia, and New Zealand is not a solution. Work with Delhi. I'm not saying Delhi is perfect. Far from perfect. But neither are you. Maybe you have some problems too. Work together. Your future of your children lies in working with Delhi. That's my humble request to Punjab. Now I'll hand it over to Tushar.
Oh, okay. If I look at what can be done for the farmers largely, because it's an agrarian state, number one, diversify. Diversify away from paddy.
Yeah, but
It's
what crop diversification to what? See, that's a very
I'm coming
wide
to
topic.
that. I'm coming to that.
I will share this. मेरे भैया खुद एग्रीकल्चर में हैं उधर अमृतसर
Hmm.
में, ठीक है. मैंने उनसे पूछा था, भैया आप लोग क्रॉप डाइवर्सिफिकेशन क्यों नहीं करते हो? बोलता है उसमें रिटर्न ही नहीं मिलता, इसके लिए he in fact tried to and he had to go back to rice.
See, this is where private sector comes in. Farm laws क्या थे? यही थे ना कि आप diversify करो, you have a cushion. सरकार तो अभी भी कह रही है कि तुम pulses पे जाओ, we'll buy it from you, we'll enter into a contract with you for 5 years, and there will be no upper limit on procurement. But for the sake of the long-term interest, you need to save your groundwater for the good years. इस साल फ्लड है, ठीक है, ग्राउंड वाटर की कोई बात नहीं करेगा, पर अगले साल अगर मानसून कम हुआ, फिर ग्राउंड वाटर की बात करते रह जाओगे, पानी कम है, पानी कम है. सेव योर ग्राउंड वाटर, स्टॉप growing paddy, don't stop right away, phase it out in the next decade. There is enough paddy growing in the country to sort of take that hit. We won't be having high food inflation, or we won't lose our food self reliance in terms of rice. There is enough rice in this country. Number two, go towards horticulture. There's a lot of money to be made for the small farmers. Collaborate with the private sector. Enter into contracts with the private sector. People in Jammu are doing that. People in Himachal are doing that. People in Uttarakhand are doing that. People in Ladakh are doing that. For the love of God, a cold, arid state. आप उस अपॉर्चुनिटी में मिस आउट मत करो, क्योंकि आपको किसने पढ़ा दिया कि ये तो गलत ही गलत है. ठीक है. तीसरी चीज, get the private sector with you on the tech front also. Understand the kind of data crunching private sector can do. No APMC can do, no state government can do, not even the center can do. I'm being very clear about this. सेंटर तुम्हें डायरेक्ट कर सकती है कि हाँ ये डेटा है, ये है, ऐसे करो. प्राइवेट सेक्टर तुम्हारे साथ जमीन पे खड़ा होगा, क्योंकि उनका स्टेक होगा तुम्हारी फसल में. सरकार तुम्हें कॉम्पेंसेट कर देती है, सरकार को उतना ही स्टेक है कि ठीक है, अगर कुछ बुरा होगा हम कॉम्पेंसेट कर देंगे. दैट्स द ओनली स्टेक दैट. प्राइवेट सेक्टर विल बी एज इन्वेस्टेड इन योर क्रॉप एज यू आर. So get them on board. Find a working relationship with them. You do that already for your dairy sector. वेरका चलता ही है ना पंजाब में. वेरका कैसे चलता है? Verka is the milk cooperative in Punjab, and for those who have never been to Punjab or Haryana, they have stunningly good products, and I've someone consuming them for almost 30 years now, right? Number 5, the state government has to push towards capex, more capex. आपके रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंडिचर 2/3 है. आपका सरकार चलाने का खर्चा 66% है आपके बजट का, और उस 66% के अंदर जो एक अलग ट्रांच है, उसमें 20% सिर्फ सब्सिडी पे जा रहा है. आप मुझे एक बात बताओ, आपका बड़ा किसान पावर सब्सिडी क्यों डिजर्व करता है? उसको एमएसपी मिल रही है, उसको फर्टिलाइजर पे
छोड़ इनकम टैक्स क्यों नहीं भरता है? मैं तो ये भी पूछ लूंगा.
वो भी चीज है. उसको फर्टिलाइजर पे सब्सिडी मिल रही है, उसको और कितने इनपुट्स पे सब्सिडी मिल रही है. जो वो छोटे फार्मर से कमाता है अर्थिया होके, वो अलग चीज है. Why does the large farmer of Punjab deserve power subsidy? taxation to political issue as much, and you and I make noise about it, no government is going to touch it. That's the bland reality. ठीक है ना? But can Bhagwant Mann or Anvir Kejriwal, if they are looking to continue after 27, have this honest conversation that we want to revamp the entire canal network in Punjab? Please let us have more money. Can the farmers of Punjab give up their power subsidy for the next 5 years, at least the large farmers to begin with? तुम पूरा दिन मोदी 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 करते रहते हो. मोदी, when he came in 2014-15, he asked the middle class to give up their LPG subsidy. He succeeded. He nudged over 1 CR families to give up the LPG subsidy. तुम जाओ किसानों के पास, तुम 1 लाख किसान को बोलो, पंजाब के बड़ा किसान को, कि भाई तुम अपनी पावर सब्सिडी 5 साल के लिए छोड़ दो, हमें पंजाब के छोटे किसानों के लिए और अच्छा काम करना है कैनाल नेटवर्क पे. Why don't you go? You have the kind of mandate no one has had in Punjab for almost couple of decades. Why can't you do it? I think the large farmers will have to now sort of shelter the proportionate burden when it comes to Punjab. It cannot be when there are good days the large farmer wins, and when there are bad days the small farmer wins. अभी आम आदमी पार्टी ने क्या किया, उन्होंने कहा जिसदा खेत उसदी रेत, कि भाई अगर आपके फार्म पे मिट्टी जमा हो गई है, आप उसको इकट्ठा करो, बेचो और पैसा कमा लो. अब प्रॉब्लम ये है, बड़ा किसान तो हार्डवेयर मशीनरी अफोर्ड कर लेगा, छोटा किसान क्या करे, कितना मैन्युअल लेबर कर लेगा वो, चलो वो भी वो कर ले. उस मिट्टी में कितना वेस्ट होगा, कितना एनिमल कार्कस होगा, ठीक है, कितना क्वालिटी ऑफ सिल्ट होगा कि वो बिकेगी भी या नहीं. ठीक है, you have told them this is the way to get rid of the silt on your farmland, fine, but the small farmer here is also on the disadvantaged side. He's or she's not going to win. This is where Aam Aadmi Party lost an opportunity. Problem ये ना, इनका पूरा फ्रीबी मॉडल था शुरू से. दिल्ली में मस्त चलता था क्योंकि वहां पर इतना रेवेन्यू था कि वो अफोर्ड कर सकते थे, पंजाब में नहीं है. तो अब फ्यूचर के लिए तो यू नीड टू, वही है ना, जब you are on a budget, you have to cut corners. That is what Punjab needs to do to sort of get its economy back on track. आपके एग्री में अगर प्राइवेट सेक्टर आएगा, आपके लॉजिस्टिक्स में प्राइवेट सेक्टर आएगा, आपकी फूड प्रोसेसिंग में प्राइवेट सेक्टर आएगा, they will expand your tax base, they will expand the government's kitty. But that is something the people there need to understand. You tell them about all this, you tell them about power subsidy, they respond by saying ये तो हमारा हक है. अरे भाई, बड़ा किसान जिसकी 10 एकड़ जमीन है, उसको पावर सब्सिडी क्यों चाहिए? वो बिजली का बिल क्यों नहीं भर सकता? अगर वो एक थार ले सकता है हर साल, थार भी क्या, वहां तो जी वैगन लेते हैं लोग, ठीक है, प्रोटेस्ट में भी दिख रही थी जी वैगन, थार तो छोटे लोग लेते हैं, ठीक है, वहां पर वो जी वैगन ले रहा है, वो BMW ले रहा है, वो मतलब लैंड रोवर ले रहा है, वो पावर सब्सिडी भी क्यों डिजर्व करता है? मेक्स नो ब्लडी सेंस.
वो ही नहीं है. आई थिंक it's a toxic mix of the artiya that also makes a lot of money and the big farmer. It's a combination of both, and it's very sad. Like, this person says to regulate rice farming, strict food sales standards on pesticides, fertilizers are needed for purchase. As Punjab runs on contract farming, we need to affect landowners, otherwise it will be of no use. It's not as simple as that. I think you should actually do a thorough survey of Punjab. You'll realize Punjab's problems. I think some of the claims Punjabis have are actually fair. Even the claims, a bit of them, on compensation from the center, uh, some of them are fair. Not all of it. A major chunk of it is not. But I think the center will eventually have to find a solution for this problem. And Punjabi politicians have not helped the cause. I think the biggest mistake was the BJP Shiromani Akali Dal breakup. Like, we had a food processing minister who was from the Shiromani Akali Dal. It's just it's brain dead politics from both the BJP and Shiromani Akali Dal. People don't understand the future of Punjab only lies in two major communities of Punjab and their representative parties coming together. It's the only viable short-term to mid-term solution for Punjab. Like, I don't understand why both the parties are behaving like seriously 2-year-olds.
अब तुझे गालियां पड़ेंगी और साथ में मुझे भी पड़ेंगी, because you are proposing something we've been saying since last year.
मैं आज से बोल रहा हूँ भाई, जो ग्राउंड पे रिसर्च करता है पंजाब में, forget, we will not take any names, you know who I'm talking about, जो serious inputs देते हैं,
सीरियस इनपुट्स देते हैं, मैं उनकी बात कर रहा हूं, जिनके लिटरल लोग ग्राउंड पे काम करते हैं। मैं खुद जाके आज से 4-5 महीने पहले 1500 किलोमीटर ड्राइव किया हूं पंजाब में। आई नो एंड आई कुड ओनली कंक्लूड कि भाई ये दो पार्टियों को साथ में आना पड़ेगा, तो ही पंजाब का फ्यूचर है। आई जस्ट डोंट अंडरस्टैंड व्हाई इट डजंट हैपन। It's an internal security issue, it's a national security issue, it's a social stability issue, it's a politics issue, it's an economics issue, and the solutions lie in both these muppets working together. Just freaking get your egos aside. पंजाबी लोग ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है यार, तुम्हारी पॉलिटिकल ईगो को लेके बैठ गए।
अब एक चीज देखो, आज लोग कहते हैं, भगवंत मान की जैसे सरकार कहती है, आप हमें 50,000 करोड़ रुपए दे दो, दैट समहाउ विल सॉल्व आवर प्रॉब्लम्स। आपका 3-3.5 लाख करोड़ का तो डेट है। मैं कह रहा हूं आपको सेंटर ने आज 50,000 करोड़ दे दिया, आप उसका करोगे क्या? आप आज अपनी सब्सिडीज को थोड़ा रेगुलेट करो, you cut them down for the big farmers, you will unlock at least 10,000 crore every financial year, at least 10,000 crore, going by your budget documents. I don't know why they say, अभी वही ट्रस्ट इशू आता है ना, लोगों को लगता है हाई सेंटर पैसा नहीं देना चाहता। आपका वन टाइम पेमेंट से सोल्यूशन नहीं निकलेगा। You're not in that position where someone gives you a fish and you'll be fine. You need to learn how to catch a fish. That is where your problem is. And you give it another 5 years like this, it will just become more irreversible. You don't want to end up as a state which people remember as once upon a time it was so prosperous. It doesn't work that way. For all the infrastructure you have, everything requires maintenance, everything requires money. The large landowners and farmers of Punjab, they need to start giving up their subsidies. Start somewhere at least.
No, and Punjab has no real economy.
No real economy.
They don't have an economy, boss. What is their economic model? I read an article about semiconductor investments in Andhra Pradesh and Punjab. मैंने ऐसे 3-4 बार ऐसे किया, मैंने बोले पंजाब में कौन सा सेमीकंडक्टर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग होने वाली है भाई? आंध्र प्रदेश डाइजेस्टेबल। ये कौन सी निंजा सेमीकंडक्टर फैक्ट्री लाने वाले हैं हम लोग पंजाब में? एंड यू नो इट हर्ट्स मी एज आई से दिस, बट आई नो वी डोंट हैव द प्रीरेक्विजिट स्किल इन पंजाब। और होगा क्या, मैं तेरे को बताता हूँ यार। मैं एक टाइम पे, मैं तेरे को बता रहा हूँ, 2002, 2003, 2004, ये 3 सालों की बात बता रहा हूँ, बिफोर वी सेट अप द फैब्रिक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट। तो हमारा फर्स्ट बिजनेस होता था मैन्युफैक्चरिंग केमिकल्स दैट गो इन द सेम फैब्रिक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट्स। सो आई यूज्ड टू ट्रैवल अ लॉट इन पंजाब हरियाणा। मैं वो पूरे रीजन में बहुत घूमा हूं। तो हम क्या होता था, हम ये होजरी की फैक्ट्रियां और यहाँ सब जाते थे। तो पंजाब में जो इंडस्ट्री जाने का एक बहुत बड़ा मॉडल ये भी होता था कि कोई भी इंडस्ट्री ऊपर आती थी तो आसपास का जो एग्रीकल्चरल लैंड ओनर होता था ना, वही पहले जाके बाबू के साथ बैठ के उनकी बैंड बजा देता था कि मुझे फैक्ट्री वाले, एक फैक्ट्री वाला नहीं, मतलब हंड्रेड्स ऑफ यूनिट्स में विजिट कर चुका हूं भाई उधर। और ये मैं तेरे को इतने साल पहले की बात कर रहा हूं, अभी तक तो वो सब खत्म ही हो गई है।
Again, it's the economics of the state. It needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed by the people. बात घूम फिर के सारी वहीं आ जाती है। बाढ़ आई, नेचुरल क्लैमिटी है, कोई कुछ नहीं कर सकता, किसी का जोर नहीं उस चीजों पे। पर जिन चीजों पे जोर है वो तो करें ना। अगर वो भी नहीं करेंगे फिर क्या ही करेंगे?
क्या बोले यार, आई डोंट नो, आई जस्ट फाइंड इट सो डिसअपॉइंटिंग। एंड यू नो, यू टॉक टू यंग किड्स, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल अमृतसर तू जाएगा ना, तेरे को अभी अमृतसर सीनियर सिटीजन टाउन लगेगा
यार। आई विल टेल यू, पंजाब विलेजेस आर ऑलवेज सो पॉश, ठीक है? व्हेन पीपल थिंक विलेजेस, दे थिंक
एक
अच्छा
गंदी रोड नहीं मिलेगी तेरे
झुग्गी
को पंजाब में, एक गंदी
हाँ,
रोड नहीं मिलेगी इवन
पंजाब
रूरल
के
में।
विलेज, हाँ, पंजाब के विलेजेस, किड यू नॉट, आर वेरी वेरी पॉश। दे आर वेरी लाइक, मतलब तुम्हें
हाई
लगेगा
क्लास,
तुम एक शहर के, हाँ, हाई क्लास है,
हाई
तुम्हें लगेगा
क्लास,
शहर के।
इतना सा कचरा नहीं होगा। इट्स सच अ नाइस क्लीन स्टेट, people don't
Yeah,
realize these things when they go to Punjab. They're like, oh, this place is rich, like these
yeah,
people have money.
but you can
खोखले
feel two
अंदर
things
से।
now. You can feel that richness going away, and that is why this entire economics, and it's been almost 5 years of me talking about this. Kushal has been doing it for longer. Kushal and I together have been talking about it for almost 2 years now,
Yeah.
right? So it's a lot of years now, and we are graying our hair, and Punjab is losing out on time. But it's just economics, and no, and एक चीज और है. One thing, if Punjab sort of starts revamping its entire agriculture ecosystem, it can also get into the export game.
Yes.
आपके आपका हाईवे बन रहा है गुजरात तक, दिल्ली से वो आगे जाएगा, ठीक है. आपको सरकार कह रही है हम आपको डायरेक्ट पोर्ट कनेक्टिविटी देंगे, आपके किसान बैठ के प्रोटेस्ट करें कि हम हाईवे नहीं बनने देंगे. यार इतना तो वो मत करो ना, मतलब इतना भी अपने पैर पे कुल्हाड़ी मत मारो. लॉजिस्टिक्स अगर आपको अच्छा मिल रहा है कि 24 घंटे में आपका क्रॉप, आपका प्रोड्यूस एक पोर्ट पे पहुंच जाए, वहां से एक्सपोर्ट हो जाए, डॉलरों में कमाई हो, तो क्या दिक्कत है. ऐसा तो है नहीं कि अगर डॉलरों में कमाना है कनाडा जाके ही कमाना है, पंजाब में बैठे बैठे नहीं कमा सकते. स्टार्ट थिंकिंग अबाउट एग्री एक्सपोर्ट्स. वेयर इज दैट वन स्टेट पार्टी हु इज गोइंग टू ब्रिंग अप अ पॉलिसी? आई वांट टू सी. इज कांग्रेस गोइंग टू डू इट? आई डोंट थिंक सो. Is Aam Aadmi Party going to do it? They are busy mocking everyone around them. But भगवंत मान ने ना पता नहीं, मतलब ना, I'll tell you, Captain Amarinder Singh has his problems, but there was a certain decorum to the CM chair when he was around. So was the case with Prakash Singh Badal. I don't know what Bhagwant Maan is really thinking. It's remarkably sad. Yeah.
See, my biggest problem with this entire mess in Punjab is that Punjabis have stopped innovating. When the country needed food, these people were at the forefront. They sacrificed. We had this green revolution. They came forward. We've just lost that spirit. And yes, I understand the violence in the mid 80s to 90s had a lot of role to play in it. But guys, it's been almost 3 decades now. Like, we need to get over these things. We need to get over all of this rubbish, and we need to get practical. We need to get cracking. Like, don't you care for your children? Do you think your genius idea is sending your child outside Punjab? Every fourth banner in Punjab is immigration. Every fourth banner. You don't find that in Maharashtra, Gujarat, boss. You just don't find it. Think. Anyways, we'll wrap up. But any last comments before you wanted to?
We keep coming back to the subject of Punjab, and somehow all the solutions lead us to one and one answer only. It's the economy, stupid. It's always going to the economy. In a bad monsoon year, in a overly excessive monsoon year, it's always going to be the economy. We
Yep.
need to start rethinking how we approach Punjab. If anything, start looking at Haryana. People think Haryana is all Haryana because of Gurgaon. No, Gurgaon is just a small part of Haryana. You look at what they have been able to accomplish in Karnal, Panipat, Sonipat, Rohtak, Jind, all these places, even Kurukshetra for that matter, Ambala for that matter. So that is all. I think it's serious introspection. Time is of the essence here.
Yeah. Once again, to everyone who watches this in Punjab and who cares about the future of the state and your children, get your act together, upskill, move away from water guzzling crops, diversify, think long term, not short term. I'll give you an example. When I started my textile factory in 2004, from 4 to 9, we were mostly export oriented. One fine day, I took the decision that I want to change my factory, and I started hedging from 80-20 export oriented to 50-50 domestic and export. And then I just went full on domestic, like 80-20. I just completely changed. So whenever, even if it was, and even in export, I would not do business with people who are working in Western countries. My clientele was more Dubai, local Dubai consumption, Africa, and all those countries. So you have to be innovative if you want to survive as a person in an industry, as an entrepreneur. So I hope all of you take this. The only reason Tushar and I keep doing these discussions is because we care for India, we care for Punjab. Punjab is a part of India. It's not going anywhere. So I hope you guys understand. And again, to every single Punjabi boss, your attitude towards Delhi has to change. It has to be one of collaboration, not confrontation. When we collaborate, we do things better. I hope you guys focus on that. Go follow Tushar on X, subscribe to the Atom channel. If you have not hit the subscribe button till now on the Cārvāka podcast, shame on you. Somebody will open your eyes and make you watch the entire India versus Pakistan match if you don't subscribe to my channel and like this video. And if you really care about supporting the Cārvāka podcast, do consider joining the Cārvāka podcast membership program. Somebody has gifted 10 Cārvāka podcast memberships, so to make most of it, you can take it. And other than that, you can send one-time donations to through UPI and through Interac Canada. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.